Greetings everyone. Today I'll be demonstrating part 3 of the programming POE, and as required this is entirely built using WPF and XAML. It's a GUI based application basically, and I've built on top of part 1 and part 2, integrating the original chatbot logic. So we've added 4 major advanced features such as a task assistant with a database storage, a mini game, a quiz, NLP, natural language processing simulation, and also an activity log. So let's jump right out, and we can start by typing hello. As you can see, it says hi there. You can ask me anything about staying safe online. So let me just say phishing. Let me just type phishing. See, it gives me a fact about phishing, such as a precaution saying be cautious of emails asking for personal information, which is also an example of phishing. So you'll see that this is a core chatbot from part 1 and 2, and it's still fully functional. So however, the upgrade in part 3 is the database integration. If we look over at the Task Assistant tab, you can see that it's currently empty, but behind the scenes the application is connected to a MySQL database. So when needed, I can ask for the task list and it will show me basically everything that I've asked. And then now we go back to the chat. We can type add task. We can add a task. So let's add a task. Enable two-factor authentication. And then we hit send. I'm not sure why. Oh, add task. I forgot to put add task. Add task. Enable authentication two-factor. Authentication. See, there we go. Task added. So now if you go back to the Task Assistant tab, we can see that it's still empty. But if we click refresh task list, you see it says enable 2F2, and also these are the tasks that I've asked it so far. So now one of the strict requirements of the Task Assistant was to handle tasks using NLP, the natural language processing simulation. So the bot realizes natural variations. So the keywords basically like add task, those are the keywords that it keeps and sends it to the MySQL database. And then if we go back let's now go to the mini game, and this part of the tab is structured inside the main window.xaml and also the C#. Now let's select start quiz. As you can see, there's a question index counter to load questions and creating dynamical buttons to be able to click when you want to answer, and it's also a multiple choice question. And then when I click and answer here, it says what should you do if you receive an email asking for your password. So you can either delete email, report the email, or ignore it, but you should never reply with your password. So let me just pick that one. So as I've picked, we now move on to the next question or the next quiz basically. So this also uses natural language processing, and basically to set out the quiz, the words for the quiz, and the multiple choice answers. And since we are using C#, we are not using any complex frameworks, so this is just basic string manipulation and keyword detection. So now let me go back to, we can finish the game. We don't really have to finish the game. We can just go back. You see, or you can finish it whenever you have time. So now the activity log feature, which is the final requirement, is every bot takes a significant action like adding a task or answering a list, and it records that action into a variable inside the chat engine. And then to see this, you can just type a command. The command can say show activity log, and it gives you a summary. Here's a summary of recent actions, task added, and one task. I'm not sure why it's giving me one task. Basically, this is the activity log. So in conclusion, this part 3 merges the original console and basically integrates it into a fully functional GUI-driven WPF application. And the architecture is separated through the main window XAML, which handles the visual layout and the user controls, and also the CS part of the main window, which manages the user interface logic and the quiz state. And the chat engine CS C# handles the core logic, such as the MySQL database connections and the NLP parsing. So all in all, I believe that this was a well integration from part 1 to part 2 and part 3, as all the requirements were met specifically. Thank you very much.